Welcome back to Melanin Mysteries, where we dive into true crime stories with a dash of humor and a lot of heart. Today, we're unraveling the tragic and complex case of Isaiah Andrews, a man who spent 45 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. It's a story of lost years, a flawed justice system, and a quest for truth that spanned nearly half a century. Buckle up because this case is one wild ride through ups and downs of the justice delayed. I'm your host, Tiffany.
And I'm your host, Willie. And today we got an extra special guest that joined us for this wonderful, lovely podcast. I want to introduce my dude, Rick. Rick, you want Rick or Ricky? Which one you prefer, Mr. Jackson?
You
Which
always
one?
call me Rick, so don't
All
change.
right. All right, Rick Jackson. Hey, look, man, I gotta make sure, man. You know what I'm saying? Because look, I want to make sure that I get it right. I want to get introduce my
Everybody
dude,
know you
Rick
mess up
Jackson.
everybody's name.
I mess up. Yeah, I'm very horrible with names. So, Rick, real quick, man, give them just a brief description about you before we get into this story.
Officially, my name is Ricky Jackson. In 1975, me and two of my closest friends were accused of committing a horrific crime of robbery and murder in a corner store in my neighborhood. I was 18 at the time. Um, a store was robbed, a man was killed, and took his belongings were taken, and another lady was shot, but it wasn't fatal, and she survived her wounds. Um, Unbeknownst to us, it was a young boy in our neighborhood, 13 years old at the time, that had implicated us in this crime. We didn't know anything about this, and a couple of days moving forward, both of our homes were raided by police. My family, my siblings, my mom, my dad were drug out in the street with shotguns at their heads, handcuffed and laid down on the street. My two friends, their homes were did exactly the same way. We were subsequently all three arrested, taken downtown, and booked for aggravated murder. And this was a cap. They made the prosecutor, the grand jury decided this was a capital case, which meant that if found guilty, we would be sentenced to die. We had no knowledge of this crime, no information to get the police about it. Like I say, we didn't even know we were implicated. Um, Moving forward, we were subsequently bound over by the grand jury and charged with this capital murder case. Here I am, 18 years old, in the prime of my life. One of my friends was 19, and his brother was 20. I mean, three young men just starting out in their lives. We had all made plans. We wanted to join the military. One of my friends, the older brother, was already in the Army National Guard, and I was about to enlist in the Marines, and my friend was about to enlist also. Um, we were eventually found guilty of this crime and sentenced to die, based on pretty much no evidence at all, just the word of this 13-year-old kid. It took me 39 years, two and a half of those years having been spent on death row. I came 30 days within being executed for a crime we didn't commit.
Damn, I didn't know that part.
Me
Yes,
either.
Oh shit, yeah, I didn't know that part. They're trying to take Ricky out, huh?
yes, they did. Yes, they did.
No, they didn't, man. You hear? They was gonna try to take you out, man.
They
But
tried.
God.
They
Whew.
tried.
Ah, damn. So look, we gonna say the rest. We gonna say the rest for the end of it, man, because hey, look, it's a surprise and it's a twist to this. So we gonna say the rest. That's cool.
That's cool.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. All right, here we go.
So let's get to it.
Yes, ma'am.
So on September 17th, 1974, I wasn't born yet, but that was my birthday. Around 3 p.m., a man discovered a woman's body in some woods near a parking lot in Forest Hills Park. And mind you, we are in Cleveland. We back home. So we're back in Cleveland.
Back in Cleveland.
So all of her clothing was pushed above her waist. She was stabbed in the neck, wrapped in a blood-soaked hotel linens, a bath towel, a bedspread, a pillowcase, and a mattress cover. There was a second pillowcase found, and it was labeled with a Howard Johnson logo, and that was also found near her body.
Good
There
old
were
Hojo.
12 blood-soaked newspapers dated August 26, 1974. It was an edition of the Plain Dealer, and the coverage was talking about a crackdown of prostitution in that part of the city. I don't know what. Well, we wasn't born yet, so I didn't. I'm like that part of the city isn't known for
Oh
crime.
yeah. Well, hold on, Rick. Were you familiar with that part of the city?
Yes, I was.
Was it was it was it a lot of streetwalkers out around that time?
At that time it was. At that time it was. I mean, it was prolific.
Prolific holes everywhere, huh?
Pretty much.
Holes in
Pretty
different area
much.
codes.
Pretty
Holes
much.
everywhere. Okay, go ahead. My bad.
Okay, so the woman was identified as Regina Andrews. She was stabbed 11 times and once was in the neck. They also found a partial palm print on a newspaper nearby. So Regina Mason Andrews, she was born in either 1949 or 1950. We know that she was 24 at the time of her death, and her parents were Roman and Mary Mason. She had four brothers, Roman Jr., Reginald, Ron, and Luther. But other than that, they focused nothing on her at all.
No, nothing. So let's talk about it. Isaiah Andrew, who was born April 20th, 1937 in Ohio. We don't know almost anything about his background, unfortunately. We do know that he was in the Marines, but sometime in the 60s, he ended up in federal prison for 15 years for murder after he shot and killed a drill sergeant. Damn. Damn. I guess that drill sergeant must have been hard as hell on him. He killed him.
I mean, I was in the Marines, so I mean, I get it, because they was very hard on you, and like if you wasn't didn't have that thick skin, was able to overlook a lot of stuff they did and said to you, because I got called nigga a couple of times when I was in the Marines,
Oh man, yeah, I can only imagine them drill charges was
especially back in those days.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm not condoning what he did, but I understand the position and the predicament he was in.
They was in. And plus again, we don't even know. I mean, back in the day, they used to get away with so much stuff. I mean, back in the day, ain't no telling what that drill sergeant did. Again, no justification, but we don't know. But he was also part of the Black Muslim movement also.
Yes,
Um,
and our listeners need to take that into account when they consider, the rest of the story. You know,
okay, okay. See, that's why
so,
we glad we got you here, Rick. We glad we got you
that's
here.
very important. That's very
Okay. Now, which part of that? Him killing his drill sergeant or the Black Muslim movement?
that he was a Muslim.
Okay, that he was a Muslim. Okay, great. Okay, got you. So Isaiah Andrews and his wife Regina Andrews were staying at the Colonial House Motel, about 5 miles west of the park. The couple had been married for a few weeks before she was murdered. On September 18th, 1974, Isaiah left the motel around 8 a.m. to run errands. He came back around noon, and Regina was not in the room, but the TV was on. So, he left again, came back to the room around 4 or 5, and Regina was still not in the room. So, he's like, well, where the hell is my wife at? So, Isaiah asked the maid, Betty Worthy, if she had seen her. Betty told Isaiah that she ain't seen her, but she did suggest that maybe Regina was picked up in a police raid. Earlier that day, the police raided the hotel and picked up several sex workers that lived at the hotel. So look, I remember the only hotel I remember over there was the Noble Inn. Do you remember this hotel, the Colonial House Motel, Ron Rick?
Not particularly that word, but I knew as a young man that there were a lot of little seedy motels along that strip, that were housing prostitution, allowing these women to rent rooms, to do they do, you know.
Okay. Did you ever participate in the
You did not just ask him
I
that.
have to ask this man that is I'm just saying, I mean, if everybody
I
paid
am
for
not getting in trouble for this one. I
everybody
am not.
paid everybody paid for ass at one point in time. Know what I'm
So you paid
saying?
for ass at one point in time?
What you mean? You married. If you married, you paying for ass.
Oh my
I
god.
disagree
I
with that.
am not being responsible
I,
for this
I
episode.
disagree with that. I,
Okay, all right. Well, okay, disregard that. All right, plain and simple. Did you
my wife is giving me a hell of a look right now. See you.
Okay, well, look, look, I ask you later when we ain't on the
Prepared to cut.
podcast. I asked you when we not on the podcast. So look, Isaiah then called the police and reported his wife missing. So he don't know where she at. He like, look, something going on. He also called her family and they came to the motel. So Regina's family filed a separate missing person report also. So as we said before, the body was positively identified in the park after midnight on September 19th, 1974. She was 24 at the time of her death. Damn, that was young.
Yes,
Shit.
it was.
Hell yeah. Cleveland detectives interview Isaiah. He had recently been released from federal prison after serving for that murder. He told them about the events of the day and the times, and he was in and out of the hotel room. So, back in them days, they really, I mean, we were already targets. So the fact that he just got out of jail for murder, he was already a,
Good point. Good
yeah,
point.
suspect right
I mean,
there. Like, yeah.
I mean, if it's a spouse or a lover, the other half is always the first suspect.
Yeah,
But
Mm-hmm.
especially if you just got out for murder. So, you know what I'm saying?
and,
Yeah.
the authorities' minds are already tainted. When
Mm-hmm.
they find out that you have previous crimes. So you've been to jail for previous crimes, not necessarily this, but their minds are already biased against you. You
Yeah.
know? And
Yep.
being that he was a black Muslim didn't help any
At all.
at
At
all.
all.
It didn't help.
Yes, at all. Yes, they said that the Black Panthers and the Muslim was the number one threat to America back in the day. They said that those who were the number two threats to America was the Black Panthers and the Muslim. But what did they call them? They called them the Nation of Islam. I'm sorry. That's
Yes.
That
crazy.
was what they
That's
portrayed us to be. That's what we were
of
not.
course, of course, of course. But I mean, that speaks volumes, though. That let you
Hmm.
know the power impact that we get. That they even look at us as that. It's
I mean,
not a
I was a part of the Black Panthers because what I'm saying, they was a staple in my community at the time. We had just come out of the Glenville riots, and there was no communication between the black community, the police department, downtown, the prosecutors, and so that allowed them to pretty much do what they wanted to do. And I think the reason that they felt that the Black Panthers and the black Muslims was such a threat because we were advocating protecting ourselves.
exactly. That's it. You're policing your own neighborhood. That was
And
it.
they used to have a parade every month, and we would march down the street with our black national flag, and we would carry guns. Where the older people, I wasn't old enough to carry a gun, but the older brothers in the movement would carry guns up and down the street. And to a white authority, a black man walking down the street with a gun is a threat to the whole nation.
All day long. Hell
That's
yeah.
I mean, that's just plain and simple how it was.
Yep.
You
Yep. There you
Shoot,
go.
not
Go
how it
ahead,
was.
girl.
That's still how it is.
I know, yeah. They said it's so funny. They said if you really want them to change the gun laws, no, all you got to do if it would take for black people to start really using their rights in gun laws, then they'll change it. Know what I'm saying? Because if not black people walk around like how these white people are with guns, they'll change the gun laws. That's what, and that's honest to God truth.
June 6th thing when they invaded the Capitol. If that
Yep.
had been black people, they'd have been all been dead by
I
now.
would say they would have
Yeah.
all been dead. No
They'd have
ifs,
been all
ands, or
been
buts
dead now.
about it.
These white people will carry brandishing guns, AK-47s, grenades, and the police felt they were helpless.
Man, look, them niggas had bear spray.
Listen,
Bear spray.
listen, if that had been a gang of black people, they'd all been dead. No
Oh,
questions.
and but you
They
said
didn't
the
even
key
make it
word.
to the
You know,
gates.
The key word was they would have considered it a gang. That's the key word right there. You know what I'm saying? That would, but they considered them a peaceful protesters.
But
right?
We
look,
would be considered a gang.
Exercising their First Amendment rights.
Exactly. Exactly.
right.
Go
But
ahead. Go
even
ahead,
when
Tiff.
we went to 2020 when they had the March on Washington for George Floyd, like you could not. They had the gates up to the White House. They had the entire city was boarded up, and
Ex-
Yeah.
literally nothing popped off. It
Exactly.
really was a
Great
peaceful
point.
protest.
Great point.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because y'all know the blacks are coming in town. Oh, we need to protect everything, but these people literally stormed like the Capitol. What?
Okay, look, hold on now. Let's look, we gonna we about to change this whole podcast to something else.
All right.
let's
Okay.
stick.
Yeah.
Let's focus. We about to
Back on
start
track.
showing. Yeah, man. Fuck Trump.
Because we said what we said.
Exactly. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, police interviewed a resident of the motel. Her name was Linda Cloud. And Linda was asked if Isaiah and Regina ever fought. That's a stupid question to ask a married person, but whatever. So, Linda said that they didn't, but they argued like normal couples. So, she said Regina had been visited by a light skinned black man on the night of September 17th when Isaiah wasn't in the room. And the man had stayed up until Isaiah came, before Isaiah came back. She said Isaiah left the motel room around 2:30 a.m. on September 18th. And the police also interviewed that same maid, Betty Worthy, that Isaiah asked if she knew where his wife was.
Okay.
So, when questioned by the police on September 21st, Betty told the police that she saw Isaiah talking to his wife in their room around 11 a.m. And she said that he went inside the room and turned on loud music. She said a few minutes later, he went to his car, opened his trunk, and Isaiah left carrying a big bag over his shoulders that he put in the trunk of his car. She said she then saw Isaiah around 5 p.m. and he was still wearing the same brown suit. And she said he was dressed, quote, very neatly. Was supposed to look like a bum, but okay. She also said that the Colonial House used the same linen service as other hotels and motels, and sometimes the linen got mixed up, and this could include pillowcases and linens that were meant for the Howard Johnson.
Good old Hojo. So police interviewed Isaiah again and arrested him on September 21st, 1974. But the initial indictment was dismissed over procedural grounds on December 16th, 1974, and he was re-indicted on a charge of aggravated murder on January 24th, 1975. Did it say what the procedural issue was?
No.
For why he
Mm.
was released,
Well, while the first indictment was dismissed.
because the witness, the initial witness, her statement was not enough to have Isaiah arrested, you know. But subsequently down the line, they re interviewed her, and it's an underlying theme to all cases like this. I see it every time. The witness tells the police what they saw, but but it's not enough. They want this guy, and so they re-interview her and start feeding her information.
Oh, to tailor it to their case.
Exactly, they start feeding her information, and so as you go further along in the case, you see how her testimony changes. You know,
Oh, snap.
Mm.
Okay.
and they like get these people in these rooms like they did in my case, the same exact thing. They put so much pressure on these people, to cooperate with subtle threats or outright threats, and now her statement is totally different.
Mm,
As we go
okay.
further along in the
Yes.
case,
Okay. 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 Go
her
ahead, girl. Go ahead.
statement is totally different, you know.
And they still do that to this day. I've heard people. It's a lot of people who've come out and said that, like they threatened me, like I didn't have a choice.
I mean,
Yeah.
back in my day, they beat me, you know. They
Damn, they
Wow.
beat they yeah, I mean, they did the same thing to the
Man, listen, it
yeah,
was barbaric back in those days. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I mean, we didn't have any rights, and they would keep you down in these bullpens. They took me to the bullpen, and first they wrote a confession. They wrote their own confession to this crime and asked me to sign it and implicate my two friends. I wouldn't do that, and so they got frustrated, and they started beating me.
Damn.
They started.
Now how old were you when this happened again?
I was 18. I had just turned 18.
Okay, just turned 18.
I was a
Okay.
couple of months into being 18. This crime
Damn.
happened May 19th. I was born in February. My birthday was in February.
Yeah,
I
so
just
you just turned
I
yeah.
wasn't even full 18 yet, you know.
Oh,
But they used to take me down in the bullpen every night, and like for the first couple of days, it was talking to me, threatening me, and then they just got so frustrated they would start beating me, you know. And at one point, they knocked me unconscious, and after that, the beating stopped because I think they thought they had killed me or injured me severely, But the beating stopped. But for 3 days in a row, they would just take me down there, and they would take this. I don't know if you guys are kind of young. My audience is probably young, but the phone books were like 3 inches,
man, them phone booth was thick as hell, man.
and they would take this phone book. At first, they would put it over my torso, my body, and they would put these gloves on, and they would punch it. The reason for the phone book is that it don't leave no
And no
bruise.
bruise. It don't leave no bruise. Yeah.
So
Oh.
they just got so frustrated. One time they put it on my face and got to punching it, and they knocked me out.
Man, look, I know you was happy as hell when you got out of jail and you realized you could go online and look up numbers because you had to go through the phone. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, that was interesting.
Come on.
no, that was good. That was,
Yeah.
but they knocked me out, and I think that kind of scared them that maybe they went overboard.
Yeah,
But
so they stopped.
this was routine practice. When they got a black man downtown in one of those bullpens. Well, no,
Yeah, especially when they want you, when they want to convict you, like they want to convict you and they got they focus on you. Yeah, I can see that.
exactly. It wasn't about getting it done right. It was about getting it done,
Getting
closing
done.
the case.
Mhm.
That I mean that
And
makes sense.
even though the pieces didn't fit in the puzzle, they made them fit
Mm-hmm.
because they had all the power. They had the coroner's office, they had the prosecutorial office, they had the judges in their pocket.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
great. Yeah, damn.
That's
Mm.
and
that's crazy.
and as a defendant, all you got was a lame bum ass what do they
Public
call it?
defender.
How you look? Public defender.
Public pretender, and yep, and got a
I like the phrase, public pretender. Yeah.
yeah, public pretender. Yep. So so look,
Uh-uh.
When Regina Body arrived at the coroner's office, now at this time she was still unidentified, right? So they didn't know who it was, and that was on the 18th of September, of course, 74. A quick assessment was done, and they established a time of death between 2 and 5 on September 18th. Keep that in mind. There was another autopsy performed September 19th by Dr. Elizabeth Bowdra. I think she still do. If I'm not mistaken, she either still do coroners or she literally just retired because she's been doing it for a while. I recognize her name. Well, anyway, her report said Regina had been stabbed 7 times in the neck. There were 4 cuts in her stomach. There were inconsistencies noted, specifically speaking of the onset of rigor mortis, and she changed the estimated time of death to 9 a.m. to noon on September 18th.
To
A
fit
rape kit.
the police,
Say it again.
to fit the police department's description of the crime.
That's
You know,
crazy
and the coroner's office was notorious for
for
doing.
doing that. Yeah.
It would change the time of death to fit the police's investigation of what they think happened, not the
That's
facts, but they always adjusted their information
information according to to fit the
according
narrative.
to the
Yep.
police, exactly, to make their case stronger against the defendant.
Yep. I just heard that. So a rape kit was also performed on her vaginal, rectal, and oral areas. However, DNA testing wasn't even invented yet. DNA testing was not available until 1986.
Exactly.
86 was a good year.
All
Mhm.
right, come on, man. Let me get that. I know that she was
Drunk.
born that year, Rick. She that's
Oh,
don't pay her no attention.
but she
She-
wasn't drunk then.
yeah, exactly. She gonna be talking Virgo, September in 1986.
I
Just
mean, this
don't
all
pay no
happened on
attention.
my birthday. What you want me to do? It's Virgo season. I mean, it's about to be my birthday. I'm excited. I mean, dang, let me live.
Go ahead, man. So go ahead. So Isaiah went to trial in March 1975 at the Cuyahoga County Court of Common Pleas. No physical evidence tying him to his wife's death. A third pathologist with the coroner's office testified they couldn't explain the discrepancies in the time of death estimate, and they updated the time of death could have been between 12 a.m. to 2 p.m. on September 18th, 1974, just like my boy Ricky said.
if you
They
don't know,
tailored.
you shouldn't be able to give an opinion about anything. You
Ain't
know,
that crazy?
if you
True.
don't know, how you gonna estimate? You can't. If you don't know, just say I don't know. But you notice that they always lean toward the sides
It's
of.
always gonna be on the side of what they're doing. Yeah. Yeah. So the two key witnesses for the process were Betty Worthy and Linda Cloud. Now remember, Betty was the maid and Linda was the resident. And remember, Linda told the police previously that Isaiah and Regina were normal. But at the trial, Linda testified the day before Regina went missing. Isaiah told her, and I quote, "Bitch, you know I'm gonna kill you." Unquote. She said she didn't tell police initially, but said she had recently had been agitated by a defense investigator who accused her of being a sex worker. See, there you go. You just called it, Rick. You just called it. Yeah. So now her whole story then changed up to fit what the cop said. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And the fact that how you don't remember him saying, bitch, You know I'm gonna kill you.
The leg with off the rip. That nigga called me a bitch. You
Yes.
you know, you will still remember that.
Yeah,
You know,
Yes.
that's a
you
big
will
key
still
thing.
remember that. But you only remember that after the fact that you say somebody agitated you on the side of the
On the
defense.
defense.
You know,
Yes,
that,
that's yeah.
that
That's
sounds like the police got a hold of you, and
yes. And
and
and look, and look, they probably was like, look, I know you selling tail. You know what I'm saying? I know you out there slinging that shit. So
exactly,
yes, that's
exactly.
what it was. Yep. All right, go ahead, girl. Go ahead.
So then Betty testified that she now remembered Regina was wearing a blue nightgown on the day she disappeared. She claimed to have seen sheets stripped from the bed in the couple's room. Again, that is something that you would have mentioned previously since she was
Yep.
wrapped in bed sheets, but okay. She said that she didn't tell the police in the initial interview because at the time Regina was only missing. Police officers then testified about some evidence, but they did not mention the palm print that was found. They did say that they processed the blood soaked newspapers that were found with Regina, but those came back negative.
So Isaiah, he didn't testify in this trial. The defense gave evidence challenging the state's time and death and credibility of his witnesses. Isaiah was unfortunately sentenced to life in prison. Ricky, let me ask you a question. Why do you think he didn't testify?
Are you a crafting enthusiast looking to bring your creative visions to life? Whether you're a seasoned DIYer or just getting started, My Crafting Dreams is here to help you make those dreams a reality. From custom bling mixes that add sparkle to any project to a wide range of high quality crafting supplies, we've got everything you need to create something truly special. But that's not all. We also create custom items just for you, whether it's personalized gifts, custom t shirts, tutus, bling shoes, and more. We'll bring your ideas to life with a touch of creativity and a whole lot of love. Visit us online at mycraftingdreams.com to explore our full range of products and discover tips, tutorials, and inspiration to fuel your creativity. Plus, listeners of Melanin Mysteries can use the code MYSTERY10 at checkout to get 10% off your next order. Turn your crafting dreams into reality with My Crafting Dreams. Let's create something amazing. Shawnee's Bakery and Events is Cleveland's one stop shop. That's right, one stop, where you can book your full event from your decorating balloons, 360 booth, royal chairs, catering, food, and sweets tables. We hire. Ugh.
Because of his past.
There
Oh,
you
well,
go.
that would make
Okay.
sense.
Because of
I
his past, and somehow they would have, even though that was irrelevant to what was happening then and there, they would have found a way to get that in.
Yep.
I'm
There
saying
you go.
that's gonna once you a jury here. That's like saying telling the jury to disregard something the prosecutor said. How
They
you
gonna
gonna?
see. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't erase what somebody just heard.
True. True.
That's why I believe personally that he didn't testify. You know,
I
Yeah,
get
that
it. I
would
mean,
make
but
sense,
yeah,
though.
that makes sense. Yeah, that actually makes sense. So Isaiah challenged his convictions twice and was denied both times. Once in 1994 and again in 1996. So here we go. This is where Rick come in. Rick knows about this, right? In 2015, the Ohio Innocence Project at the University of Cincinnati College of Law filed a public records request with the Cleveland Police Department for a case file on Regina Andrews' murder. The department didn't respond. And that'd be that bullshit, Rick. That'd be that bullshit right there.
they need time to cover shit up.
Exactly. And
Point
that and yes.
blank,
It,
because they think that like a guy like him and a guy like me, nobody's fighting for them, and so they got time to cover up stuff, get rid of evidence, and the excuse they use that the case is so old, stuff get misplaced, blah blah blah, or whatever, because officially, once you get convicted, the case is closed.
true.
You
Yeah.
know, they didn't have laws on the books at the time that allowed that made police department and municipalities save this evidence forever.
And I was just gonna ask you if you knew how long they had to save evidence. I mean, back in the day, you would think they didn't have computer files and things such as that. So,
They had paper.
yeah,
They
yeah,
had paper, and like paper gets displaced. People, retire, new people come in, they, stuff just gets lost,
Mm.
because there was no mandate for them to keep that stuff after you had been convicted.
Yeah, and they but they like, oh, we got them. It's yeah, rap. It's a
Right.
rap. Yeah.
We got the guy. We don't
Yeah.
need to keep this anymore, you
True,
know?
true. So they also then respond to second request, right? So they did two requests. Cleveland was like, no, they're not on it. So in 2017, the Innocent Project filed an application for DNA testing from the rape kit. Prosecutors fought the motion, right? July 1st, 2019, the judge ordered the Cuyahoga County medical examiners office to conduct DNA testing, including fingernail scrapings, oral, vaginal, and retinal slides. So everything, the evidence they took, they wanted the DNA on it. The medical examiner's office declined to perform the testing, and the parties agreed to use the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation. So the Bureau emailed the state and defense asking for any examination notes from the original coroner's report. When prosecutors responded, they sent a more extensive case file, which included the records Isaiah had been looking for since 2015, right? So therefore, they hiding evidence like this, and like it. What kills me is it's like when situations like this happen, nobody really held responsible for this.
That's
Nobody.
literally what I was just thinking.
And that's the crux of the whole problem. They know that they have immunity from prosecution. The police work for the city, so the city is pretty much immune from, and prosecutors and judges, we already know, are immune from the prosecution. So, I mean, like, you got that much immunity, you can just pretty much do what you want to do.
I mean, real
Hmm.
talk. Yeah, I mean, we see that day in and day out with police. Just police, not even or we could take it further. If you even look at like a person like a Clarence Thomas, you know what I'm saying, Supreme Court judge. Man, this dude then took bribes, everything, and it's well documented, and nothing happened to him. Like it just, yeah. When you get in that position, matter of fact, that's what we need to do. Rick. We need to become judges so we can do whatever the fuck we want and not get in trouble.
Because they don't want to they can't go after that guy, because guess what? That guy is going to flip on the guy that, so on and so forth. So, so they don't want to touch those people, man. And
No, they
that,
don't. They don't. So Ricky, we need to be judges, man. Police officers are judges, bro. We can do whatever we want and never
when I
get
go
fired.
to high schools, and I be talking to these young kids, and they be like, well, what can we do? Get involved, man. You
Yeah.
know, if you don't like the way your community is being policed, become a police officer and make a change.
But see, you know what? The only thing about that, and I touch on it, then we get back to the story. The only thing about that is it's so many bullshit ass cops. When you be so you get a cop that comes in with the with the intentions to try to change, and they get booted out. They get booted out because that brotherhood is so strong that they're not going to even allow that to happen. Know what I'm saying? So I definitely agree with you by telling
I
them
mean,
that.
it's not going to happen overnight,
Yeah,
but you know what I'm saying? It's like people out there that want to make a change, but like you said, like you stated, they feel alone when they get up in those ranks and they try to make change and don't go along with the status quo.
yeah,
You know,
sure.
and that, I think that most of the police officers that initially join the force and really want to make a change, but they see how things are, and who wants to be the outside guy and inside guy out?
And that's what I was saying. Because that's exactly what you would be.
Now you don't have the people that you work with, your colleagues, they don't trust you because you're not going along with the program,
Yeah,
you know. And,
exactly.
I mean, nobody's saying it's going to be easy. Change is never easy.
Yeah,
Change is never easy. But we need people to have the courage to stay in there.
yeah,
You
I
know,
got you.
I'm so disappointed at the Black Fraternal Police Order, for not stepping up more and not saying more, but they're stuck in the same conundrum.
Oh
They don't
no, no, I get it, bro. Look, that's look. We definitely we gonna get on that. Look, we definitely gonna talk about that. So look, check this out. Right.
uh,
So this the part that killed me, right? And I know we gonna definitely have something to say about this. The file showed that the police had arrested another man, but let him go, believing he had an alibi. So it's a whole nother individual that they just let go because they were so focused, hyper focused on sinking him. That's crazy to me. So the swabs that they did for the DNA profiles, vaginal swabs, it was all insufficient DNA to provide a comparison, unfortunately. So a motion for a new trial was approved October 4th, 2019. Brian Howe was Isaiah's attorney from the Ohio Innocent Project. Said police needed to focus on a man named Willie Watts. God damn, man, not Willie Watts.
Hmm.
Willie
So
Watts.
do you know who that is? Do you know who Brian Howe is,
It
Rick?
sound Willie Watts sound like your cousin to say.
Oh god damn, Willie Watts. Yeah, Willie. Yeah, that's Willie
But
Watts sound like a nigga that's guilty. He
I'm
do.
personal friends with Brian Howe. You know, he was at my trial when I was going to court to try to get out. He's a great guy, a great attorney. You know, but these guys fight an uphill battle when you're going against we the people, the state of Ohio. They have all the resources and all the money. You know, they got the judges, the prosecutor's office, the public defender's office, the police, and it's an uphill battle, man. It really is.
Yeah, yeah, and it was so. Yeah, so William H. Watts. Let me talk about Willie Watts right there. Willie Watts. Willie Watts Sr. was born in 1947. He had two children, Risa Brown and William H. Watts Jr. He had a sister, Leanne Watts Taylor. He passed away on September 4th, 2011. He was 64 years old at the time of his death. So, according to police records, police went to the Hojo, the Howard Johnson on Euclid Avenue, after finding the marked linen near the body. Remember, they found the sheets with the Howard Johnson emblem
Exactly.
on it. A clerk was asked about missing bed sheets, and the clerk had said Willie had taken the sheets from the room he rented on September 17th. The clerk said Willie claimed to be from California, but his ID had an address for a house a quarter mile from where Regina was found. That's that bullshit.
Willie sound like a
And
liar to me.
and he had a past history of similar crimes, which was
Mhm.
in my case. The FBI went to the police and told them that you need to be looking at these guys and not these guys. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't fit in with their timeline and what they've already established.
Wait, wait, wait. So you said the FBI came
The F,
in on your
yes,
case
the
and they
FBI,
said to look at somebody else?
FBI told the police, the victim in my case had somebody thrown acid in his face and they hit him over the head with a club. These people had been accused of the same crimes in the past. We, on the other hand, had no criminal record whatsoever. You know,
That's that
you know,
bullshit.
but they had already established a case against us. They had a witness that they could convert and threaten and subvert into doing whatever they wanted to do. And if you look at all these cases, for the most part, you had that same underlying theme. There's always an alternative suspect. Unless you got a guy on
Yeah.
camera actually doing it, you know what I'm saying? There's always an alternative suspect. And this dude, Willie Watts, was an alternative suspect with a great motivation for being investigated.
And they
Mhm.
didn't even, yeah,
You know,
that's because
but
they was so hard up on Isaiah.
Probably because it just would have been easier to prove because
But I
he
mean,
just got
but
out for
sometimes,
murder.
but my thing, I don't even want to say it's easier to prove. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Ricky, because it would have been easier to prove Willie Watts did it than Isaiah. You know what I'm saying? I believe it would have been easier to prove. I just think I don't know. It's just like when police when they get like honed in on a person, they like a dog, a rabbit dog, or like they have to stay on it. Like they can't see anything else. It's like a horse with blinders on. When they're
because they're
focused,
so concerned about their reputation as police officers and getting everything right that they're willing to overlook obvious facts. The
that's
FBI done already gave you two suspects that they say have a MO for doing this kind of robbery.
and yet they
You know,
still put you guys up.
you want to overlook that because you got a witness that you can mold, and that's exactly what they did, and that's exactly what they do. They mold these witnesses through subtle threats, direct threats. They was telling this kid, this 13-year-old kid, they was picking him up at 12 o'clock at night. That's illegal.
That's crazy.
And told his mama and daddy if they said anything that they would go to jail. you would never see your son again. That kind of stuff, you know.
Damn.
Yeah, it's like, well,
Okay,
what do you
yeah.
do?
Wow.
Okay, so
Wow.
police went to the address, and when they got there, there were already two other officers there. And the house belonged to Willie's mother. She had called 911 because Willie had broken into her home and tried to steal some things. She told them that he was AWOL from the military and she recently had to bail him out of jail and she had kicked him out of the house on September 17th, which would make sense why he was at the motel. So in a police report, it said, quote, "It is our opinion that this crime was committed by Willie Watts, who was apparently attempting to sell his mother's coat and other valuables to get money to get away from the city," end quote. There it is
Dang.
right there.
Right there.
Right there. They said it.
But it's that thin blue line thing once again. You know, one side got it right, but the other didn't. But the side that got it right don't have the courage or the balls to step up and say and pursue this. So like they gonna let the lead investigators just run with bullshit. Excuse my French. False
Oh, don't worry, man. We speak French. We speak French
know,
on
false
podcast.
evidence, whatever, because they are unwilling to go against other police officers.
Yeah.
When, but even though they know they got it wrong,
That's sad. And I mean, yeah, that's it. And I mean, it's a crazy part is you would think that's how it used to be. It's like this till this day. It is
Mhm.
like this till this day. Yes. Go ahead.
So Willie then called the police on September 19th and he told them he would meet them at his mother's house. When the police got there, he was MIA. So the police came back around 3:05 on September 20th and they went ahead and arrested Willie. He did deny any involvement and said he had witnesses who could account for his whereabouts from September 17th all the way through 10:30 p.m. and then on September 18th. So at the time of the interview, the coroners hadn't told police about his new time estimate of death, and detectives spoke with Willie's alibi witnesses and they corroborated his account of the night, so the police released him. But that's again, y'all aren't doing y'all due diligence because nobody's communicating and updating anybody. It's as simple as picking up the phone.
Exactly. Mm. So look, oh, all right. So by the time Isaiah was already in police custody, so again, he was in police custody. They in their mind they got their man. So they ain't trying to hear nothing about no Willie Watts. Willie, yeah, nothing at all. And they no telling how many other victims could have possibly how many other victims there was after this because of the fact that they were not.
times out of 10, when you get the wrong guy and you let the bad guy goes free, guess what? He's going to go out and hurt somebody else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Yeah.
going to go out and hurt somebody. He got away.
Yeah, so and that that's an ego trip for them. Like shit, if I was able to get away and do this,
He got away, and that's what irks me more than anything is that because y'all was so arrogant and so vindictive on getting this one particular person, y'all made a lot of other people victims unnecessarily.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah,
unnecessarily, man.
yeah. S- No, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. So the police theorized that Isaiah moved his white body from the room under the cover of darkness. Because remember, old girls changed her story, said that she saw him with a big bag and went to the trunk of the car and all that good stuff in the early morning hours of September 18th. This was submitted by Linda Cloud's statement, like I just said, that she saw.
Cut you off, but
No, go ahead, talk, bro.
how do you miss that a man's carrying a big ass bag? You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
And
but
you don't mention that to the police then when it happened. Well, we looking for a missing person, and you see a guy walking out with a big ass bundle, and you don't mention that.
nothing exactly. But the crazy part is, like, I wonder if the attorney, well, the public pretender has the ability to mention that to say like how her story changed, like if you're doing cross examination, because that would make sense. Like, okay, on the original statement, you said this. Why did your story change? But again, he had a public pretender, so ain't no telling if they even went through that. But now I guarantee you, your boy, and the probably did that. Well, would have did that if he had to, the good representation at the time. But yeah, so anyway, Linda's statement was that she saw Isaiah leave the motel around 2:30 in the morning with a big head bag that she forgot that she saw but didn't remember after being re-questioned by the police. That's crazy. Back on
Mm-hmm.
September 21st, 1974, the coroner's office notified police about his revised time of death, stating that Regina died between 9 a.m. and noon on September 18th. Even though Willie's alibi didn't cover that entire time frame, the police never re-investigated him as a suspect. That's that bullshit, man. So instead, they concentrated on Isaiah and tried to poke holes in his alibi for September 18th. Police said his visit to the Nation of Islam organization. So therefore, like you said, that was an issue for them. Fish market and back to the motel were a coordinated effort to create an alibi for the time Regina was killed. A report said, in other words, this was done by him to disillusion the police. So he wanted to try to make it seem like, he wasn't doing anything,
Right. He was
whatever.
trying to make a fake alibi.
Exactly. So a motion for a new trial noted that Willie had other arrests. You just said this, Rick, involving assaults on women. And he was convicted in 1980 of felonious assault and arson after he tried to burn down the ex-girlfriend house. Dog, that shit makes me so angry to know all of this and you still let that man go. So Isaiah killed his drill sergeant. That what he is in jail for, right? Murder, yes.
Yes.
This dude had arrest for assaulting women and burning down the ex-girlfriend house and nothing clicked in y'all slow ass minds.
Right, but like I say, their mind they were already tainted. You know what I'm saying, by his previous his past actions. They were already biased against him, and it didn't make it no better that he was a part of the Muslim organization, the Black Muslim organization. But
Yeah,
I mean, a clear thinking, clear minded person would like say, okay, I don't like this guy, but albeit this guy has a pattern. He fits this profile.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Same thing in my case. We had never been accused of anything, not even a traffic ticket. The FBI comes to you and lay this in your lap, and you just like, um, just don't even want to look at it.
They're like, fuck it. Just say
They
what it
don't even
is,
want to
Rick.
look at it.
Yeah. Say what it is. Yes.
They don't even want to look at it, man. They were so focused on us. They had this young boy, 13 years old. Like I said, they were virtually kidnapping this child without a provision of supervision. His parents weren't allowed to be there. He's a juvenile. He's 13.
Mm-hmm.
His parents weren't allowed to be at none of the interviews. They was taking this kid, putting him up in hotels. They were training him to be a professional witness. And that's what
Man.
they do. That's the pattern. I mean, if you look at all these cases, most of them have this same underlying theme.
Yep.
They have an alternative suspect that fits the profile perfectly. They overlook this because they've already established a case against these people.
Yep.
You know,
That's deep. Go ahead, girl. That's
Yeah. So Isaiah's attorney presented that he should have a new case because the state failed to turn over exculpatory evidence that pointed to an alternative suspect. Makes sense. So the state argued that there was no direct evidence that prosecutors failed to turn over to the police referencing Willie Watts. They also said that Isaiah's trial attorney could have discovered said information with reasonable diligence. So it was noted that in 1974, prosecutors didn't provide written disclosures of the exculpatory evidence. The requests were handled in an off the record agreement between prosecutors and defense attorneys. That sounds janky as hell.
I mean, and that's another disadvantage as a defendant. Um, in these high profile cases, you getting a rookie you know, and he's trying to get into the system himself. So he's really not going to try to buck the system. He don't know the right questions to ask. He don't know that he has a right to this evidence. And the judges and these prosecutors and even the police will talk these guys down. You know, my first contact with my lawyer, my public defender lawyer, he said, "Man, they got you." He had never spoken to me. and he brought me a deal, 25 to life. He never
Damn.
he
25 to life? That's not no goddamn deal.
listen, he never spoke to me. He said, the case against you looks pretty strong. And
And
I
you did wait, hold on, Ray. I just want to clarify this, right? Because we gonna, I love the fact that you're telling your story as we go on. Like, I think that's great. I just want to just clarify to everybody. You had no idea about this case or anything. You like nothing whatsoever. You weren't involved or anything. Like you didn't know nothing
there
about.
was no connection between me and my friends in this case whatsoever. I mean, it happened in my neighborhood. We were standing up there after the police had got up there and cordoned off the area with police tape. We were standing up there looking like the rest of the neighbors being
And the
killed.
fact that he said that the case against you was so strong and you guys didn't have nothing to do with it is
No
crazy.
investigation. This was my first time meeting him. He had did nothing. Only ever all he had was what the police and the prosecutors wanted him to have.
So he didn't ask your side of the story.
He didn't
He didn't.
ask nothing, and that was especially back in those days. Public defenders, public pretenders, as Willie said. You know, they just like rookies. They don't know shit. You know, and so they take what the police and the prosecutors give them.
And that's it. They don't. And not only that, let's be honest. The judge, the lawyers, the public defenders, and the prosecutors, they all eat lunch together. Like they're all in it
It's
together.
a
Like,
fraternity, bruh. It's a
yes, it's a
fraternity.
fraternity. Yeah. So yes.
Be in, you don't buck the system.
Yep, exactly.
You know,
Unless you my boy Johnny Cochran, then you say fuck the system. You know what I'm saying? The glove don't fit,
but he was
can't
never.
quit.
He made his own way. He was never on the inside.
Exactly.
He was never a part of that system.
Because he didn't want to be a part of it, and that's the key to it. He never wanted to be a part. He wanted to always be set.
He knew what it
Yep,
was about. He knew what it was
yep,
about. That's why he went private. You know,
yep,
he wanted to be a part of the system. But most of these upcoming attorneys, they make their bones going through the system. And in order to go through the system, you got to play by their rules.
yep.
You know,
Exactly.
I was fighting for my life. I was finna go to death row. They gave me a lawyer that had no capital offense experience whatsoever. You know, zero.
Man, look, they remind me. Hey, look, you remind me of that damn movie Fall from Grace.
Man, this dude couldn't defend me in a traffic violation. Let alone I'm fighting for
A
my life
capital.
for the death row, you know. And they said the same thing because of his inexperience. It was a lot of stuff he could have asked for had he had the experience. But even if he had the experience, if you're not playing by the day rules, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna get what you get. Withholding of evidence, prosecutorial misconduct, all this kind of stuff, you know.
Go ahead.
Okay. So he said that he had been told that there were no traces of blood that were found in Isaiah's room or car, and that Isaiah's statement to the police contained very few inconsistencies, and that there was a non-disclosed witness whose name and address had not been released. So at the trial, and this is a new trial, the attorney asked the detective about his notation in a police report and then asked for a copy of the report. The prosecution objected, arguing that Isaiah wasn't entitled to the report, and the judge sustained the objection. So he said, quote, "There is no reason for the defense to have requested these Form 10 reports or for the state to have so strongly objected to their disclosure if the state had already disclosed them to the defense," end quote. So the judge was Robert McClellan. He vacated Isaiah's conviction and ordered a completely new trial on April 30th of 2020.
Real quick, Rick, how did you feel when they vacated yours?
I was overwhelmed, really. I mean, because in these particular types of cases of wrong conviction, there's very little evidence, and um, in my particular case, it was a recantation. My initial witness took back everything he said, and he said pretty much what we're talking about right now: how the police coerced him, threatened him, told him if he didn't go along with this storyline, that he would never see his mom and dad again. All this kind of bullshit. And so getting back in the court doesn't mean you really win. You still have to go through a trial.
I know it did, but it's like a glimmer of hope, though, right?
It
Like
is.
it's a
It
yeah,
is.
it's a glimmer of hope.
You wonder if you're ever going to get to this point to even have your second day in court, so to speak. You
Yeah.
know.
Okay. Yeah, I just had to ask that question. Go ahead, girl.
So, the judge noted that the state's position that nothing connected Willie to Regina. And Judge McClellan said that Willie was possibly the light skinned man that Betty said she saw, but it was impossible to say. I'm not trying to be funny, but this to me, this is all like kind of common sense. Like, hello.
And it wasn't that many light skinned niggas back in the '60s, man, or the
First of
'70s. You know what I'm
all,
saying? It was just it was a
I
few. Like, hey, hey, you had
on that. You know what I'm saying?
you had
You saw
Superfly.
that, you remembered him.
I'm sorry about that. Go ahead, my
So
bad.
petty, man. You are so freaking petty. So anyway, um, there is no the judge said that there is no way of telling whether the information concerning Willie was withheld or simply ignored as irrelevant when he was eliminated as a suspect by the police. But regardless, the information was not in the hands of the defense team to make their own decision of whether it would provide a defense for their client. End quote.
Right.
Mm,
Because they want to slam dunk these cases as soon as possible before the real truth comes out. You know, and like once they get you convicted, all that other stuff is going to take you years and years and years to prove the truth.
yeah,
You know, once you
Mhm.
get that title on you of convicted criminal, you know, it's just so hard to get back into court with evidence. You know, it's just so hard. Even though it's the truth, it's just so impossibly hard to get back in court. The
yeah.
jury has made their decision. You know what I'm saying? And so it's
Mhm.
just so hard. That's why it takes so long. In my case, 39 years. In
God
Isaiah's case,
damn.
45 years. You know, I mean, and the truth is right there in front of everybody's face. But getting back, getting that truth to circumnavigate the so-called quote unquote justice
It
system,
takes forever, bro.
it takes forever.
Yeah, that shit, and
It,
that, it should not even be that way. It should
it
never
takes
be that
forever,
way.
man. And the truth is like it's plain as the nose on their face, you know. But now they
So
follow the law.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So Isaiah, thank God for this. Here we go. Isaiah was released from prison and then from the Cuyahoga County Jail on May 5th, 2020, after serving more than 45 years in prison. The prosecuting attorney Michael O'Malley of the Cuyahoga County Prosecutor Office offered to let Isaiah plead guilty to a lesser charge to remove the threat of going back to prison if he was reconvicted. Isaiah rejected that offer, which I would have. Shit, nigga, hey, take that shit to
Same thing
trial, like they say, take that shit to trial.
on my trial. They did the same thing to me.
Oh, they tried to give you okay, so they tried to offer
They
you
had a
the plea.
recess during my trial and said, "Listen, if you cop out right now and plead guilty to this crime, we'll give you time served, and you can go. You can go. You
But you
can."
know why they do that though? Because then you can't hold them accountable. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because then once you get retrial and they find out that you was innocent, that's when you can sue they monkey asses. They don't want to do that. Yep.
Culpability. They worried about their pensions now.
Yep. They were there you go.
You
Yep.
know, they're worried about their pensions, their reputation, and like you said, being sued. But
Yep.
I, man, I've been in prison for 39 years. If I was gonna cop out, I'd have did it on day one.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
After
Man,
9 years, like
Exactly.
I'm not finna do all this time and then say I did it when I know I didn't. You know, and
Exactly.
I lost my mother while I was in prison, and
no, that's yeah. And then, you know what? They don't think about that. Like,
I
and
know
that's the
she
go
would
ahead.
not have approved of me co- confessing to something I didn't
I
do.
didn't do. Yeah.
You know, she would
Yeah.
not have approved of that, and I know. And we rolled the dice, man. And during the midst of the trial, the prosecutor just got up and said, "Your Honor, we resting our case. We think we got the wrong man." You
Oh
know,
my God, no. Oh, I
So
can
they
only
admitted
imagine.
they got the wrong man.
yes,
Ooh. And I know
I,
those had to be like that had to be like everything.
it
Everything
was.
to
It
you.
was to hear them say that. You know, and people often ask me, "Did they ever apologize?" And I was like, not in so many words, but when they said that statement right,
that was a yeah.
now,
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
was an apology enough for me. That was a
Damn, that's crazy. Oh man, that's crazy, man. Rick, we didn't had drinks together, man. You done been kicked it with me on my birthday, and I didn't know all this.
man. We was,
Damn, Rick, I don't even know you,
we
man.
was fucking having fun.
I didn't put cameras up for this dude and everything, and I didn't even know this part, man. Damn, man. I guess we got to start talking more, man.
Man, we all
So
busy, man.
I know, man. I know. So look, his Isaiah rejected the offer, stating, like I said, man, hey, look, I'm taking it to trial. He wanted justice for his wife, which I respect. So in the retrial, October 19, 2020, most of the original witnesses had died, and their testimony from the first trial was read into the record by the jurors. The physical evidence from the first trial had been destroyed, just like you said. So in the pre-trial motion, Marcus Siddett, Isaiah's attorney, said that new evidence was still being discovered. Prosecutors disclosed that a handwritten note on a police record that Isaiah had been excluded as a source of the palm print. Now, the note was then crossed out. A document that also contained the note that said the print not clear enough to compare. The actual print was gone, and with no witness to explain the contradictory statements, if all evidence regarding the fingerprints analysis had been lost or destroyed, then the state's case must be dismissed. There you go. Marcus wrote a comparison excluding Isaiah Andrews from the bloody palm print would have been extremely strong maternal as for evidence that was going to allow him to be um, not convicted. So Marcus also alleged that the original prosecutor, Charles Lohr, misled the trial when he told the trial judge the palm print. I don't know whether they tried it or not at this time. I have ordered the police to re-examine and reevaluate and look and find it. There's any there is anything there. If it was anything there, I'm sorry. If there isn't anything, let me know that it is as far as palm prints. And when I find that out, I would tell you. So that real quick, that's the aggravated thing. So you just found out that the prosecutor misled the trial. Now, granted, it's a possibility that he's not alive. But if he were to be alive, right? If he were to be alive, he should be held accountable for that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big crux in the whole system, because I know a few jobs where if you do something fucked up, you're not gonna be held accountable for it. You know what I'm
Nigga,
saying?
if you fuck up on a Taco Bell order, they can fire
Right?
you.
If you put some bullshit on a Taco Bell order, you held responsible for it. But like,
Yes.
having positions of power where you don't have no culpability, you can't be, saying you can't be questioned about anything, And let's admit it, we live in a racial society, man. And so,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
when you got black defendants, you know what I'm saying? It's just easy, it's just easy to step around the bar and do whatever you want to do because guess what? If you get caught, guess what's going to happen?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. You're gonna get
Nothing at all.
only the worst thing can happen. You get transferred to another job where you can fuck over other people.
Yep, just like
Yeah, but
Catholic
it's
priest.
Yeah,
Um,
oh my god.
no,
so a
no, that's another show for another day.
So a jury acquitted Isaiah. Thank God. Yes, October 27, 2021. At this time, he was 83 years old, confined to a wheelchair and in poor health. His attorney Marcus said that this was the right result today, but I don't know if he'll ever get justice. And I agree with that. Mr. Howe with the Innocent Project said he should have never been convicted in the first place and should have never been retry. So we're gonna finish this out, and then I definitely gotta ask you because you did this real quick. You did meet him, Isaiah, correct? Did you
Yes,
meet him?
yes, I did. Yes.
Okay, you did. Okay, we're gonna talk about that in a second. Go ahead, Tiffany.
Okay, so on February 22nd, 2022, Isaiah and his team filed a federal lawsuit against the city of Cleveland seeking compensation for his wrongful conviction. Isaiah passed away on April 10th, 2022, just 10 days before his 84th birthday. He had been staying with the Ex Freedom House Group, a nonprofit group that provides housing to exonerated prisoners, veterans, and people with disabilities. A volunteer, Joe Vazel, was with him when he passed. He never had the chance to live his life as a free man as he deserved. He was the third longest surviving wrongfully imprisoned person in U.S. history. In March of 2023, a judge in the Cuyahoga County Court of Common Pleas ruled that Isaiah had been wrongfully imprisoned, allowing him to receive state compensation. December 2023, the state agreed to award his estate $3 million.
3 million. That's it.
I feel some type of way about that, but I'm gonna just keep on going because like that,
But
like
you know
there's
what? You know what? Now it's almost impossible for exonerees to get compensation because over the years they have critiqued the laws that allow guys to get. I was just fortunate when I got out. You know, it was law. It was a law already on the books, and that's what they use to determine how much Isaiah got from the state. You know what I'm saying? But the process, they got time and money. You know, I mean, everybody, that was on his case then is dead. They got new people, and they can fight this forever.
I know. That's
You
just.
know,
I know,
they
and that's the
can fight
crazy
this
part,
forever
though.
through generations, man, and you will be in court spending money forever and ever. So, I mean, like guys lost most of their life already in prison. So this $3 million, as minimal as it may sound to us, helps his family out a lot.
But he
You
ain't
know,
got no family. That's the crazy
yeah,
part.
they said he didn't have any
He had no
family.
family. The dude had no family. It goes
And,
to
it's,
his
and I mean
estate.
it. And it's not. I mean, it's not menial, but to me, you can't put a price on somebody's life. Those are years that you can never get back. Like you said, you were in prison and your mom passed. Like
You
those
can't.
are years that you
Yes.
cannot get back, and that's you can't put a price on your
Well,
listen,
hold on. I
time.
mean,
Like
listen.
hold on. Let me clarify.
And
Look,
realistically, okay,
if
here,
you
he about to say something ignorant.
no,
Here
I'm
we
not.
come.
No, I'm not. You can't put a price, but if you do, it's gonna be more than $3 goddamn million. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be more than that. That's it.
but
You
on the state level, that's all they will allow you to sue for.
okay?
That's almost guaranteed money.
Okay,
You
okay.
know?
That's
But then
yeah.
when you go into a civil lawsuit, now if you want to sue the police, like I had to go through, it took
Oh, okay,
it took me 5 years after I got out of prison. When I got that, I got the same money Isaiah got, the three
okay.
million dollars. That's what the city gave up. But now you have to sue the state, and then you have
Oh, okay.
and then you have to prove, what I'm saying, your case.
My case.
No. You proved it far as that go. You got to prove these individual entities like the
Yeah,
police,
that they knew about it and
the
they
prosecutors, and all this. You have to prove this, you know what I'm saying? You have
and
to go
I bet
against
you.
these people. And
And
like you said, most of these people are dead, so where do you go from there?
yeah, and I bet you they're banking the state and they maybe even the state are banking on you just to be like, look, I'm so over this. I'm tired of it. Just give me whatever. They're banking on you to kind of be like, I'm done with this. You know what I'm saying? So that's what, like you said, they stretch out the time. They stretch it out. They keep they're banking on you
Yeah,
to give up.
money, time, and resources to outlast you.
Yeah, and think about it. They knew he was old as hell. No offense, God rest his soul. He was old. They would. They're like, no, we're gonna run this out because by the time, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying,
he
this
he
dude
was
gonna
in
be
poor
dead and
health.
gone.
I believe he had cancer, if I'm not
He did.
mistaken.
He did. He died of
Okay,
cancer.
so with that
So,
being said, wait, well, we're not done. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Get
okay, let me finish
finish
that.
up. Yeah.
Okay, so Marcus Sidoti said of Isaiah after his passing, it was one of my greatest honors of my life to represent Isaiah, become close to him in his last years as he struggled to mourn his wife, defend his innocence, and enjoy his brief moments of freedom before his death. On his deathbed, Isaiah continued to express his desire for accountability. He wanted some real acknowledgement from the city, and they took away his life. He never got it. That's
Damn.
heartbreaking.
Yeah. So Rick, you met him. You want
That's
to just
not.
give it like yeah, this no, what the I don't know the everything that happened, but you go ahead and talk about him. You know what I'm saying? Because again, we only going by what we see. You actually had the opportunity to sit down and talk with him, and I know it's changing stories or whatever. So go
Um,
ahead.
like before, when I got out, I was the longest serving innocent person, and then I learned about Isaiah in 45 years. And when you get up in those numbers, there's not too much difference because time is time, and that's your time. And when you think about it, time is our most valuable resource,
Yeah.
not money,
Mhm.
but time. And I got an opportunity to see him and sit and talk with him. He was very lucid at the time, very within himself. And innocent people, at least as far as I'm concerned, we know, and I know what he had went through. I know what he had suffered through, and to be accused of something you didn't do, and regardless of what they throw at you or offer you, you stand firm. I respected him so much for that. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I
Mm.
say, I was in that same situation. I was in the courtroom, and I knew that I didn't want to get back on that bus and go back to prison. And it would have been the easiest thing for me to say that, okay, time served, I can get out in 2 hours. Yeah, I did it. But I just couldn't do it. And that's one thing that I respected about him so much, is
Yeah,
that he stood firm. He stood
yeah,
Mhm.
firm. And if this is how I gotta meet my ends, so be it. But y'all ain't gonna never make me something I'm not,
yeah.
you
I
know?
respect
And
that.
that's
Yeah,
what I respected about
yeah, that's real. That's
That's a
real.
lot.
That's
It
real. So
is.
man, yeah. So real quick, man. I want you to definitely finish your story because I think you have an amazing story. I think you're blessed to be able to. Unfortunately, like Isaiah, he wasn't able to get out and enjoy. You know what I'm saying? At least you were able to get out, and enjoy. So I want people to actually hear the rest of it. I know the last thing you said it was um your what was the I think you said yeah, your the gentleman came in and talked to you about the case. So you want to go ahead and take it up from there?
it. When we was in court, or
Yeah. Yeah, when you go because I think the last thing you said was they end up they end up taking you in. Yeah, you said they end up taking you in or whatever the case may be. You told me how they questioned you and everything. So just start from them get convicting you and then go from there. From when they what they convicted you with and then go from there.
the crime happened May 19th, 1975. A couple of days later, we were arrested, taken downtown, questioned. We were put in the police lineup, and unbeknownst to us, we didn't know who was on the other side of the glass, but the nobody identified us. Nobody identified us in the police lineup. And so the police took this young boy back in the back room, unescorted by lawyers or his parents, and told him that if he didn't pick us out and this lineup as being the perpetrators of this crime, that he would never see his parents again. They were going to jail for perjury, and he was 13. He had no knowledge of the criminal justice system. No, he had never been involved in anything like this, and he was afraid. And he came back out and picked us not out of an official police lineup, but picked our pictures out that the police had provided for him. The whole thing was staged and set up. Blah blah blah. We go to court, and it was just a travesty, man. It was just like the judge even admitted on record that he caught the police out in the hallway during a recess coaching a witness, which is illegal. But he
What?
but he didn't. His statement was, yeah, I know. He said on record that this boy is lying. I know he's lying, but I'm not going to take this case out of the hands of the jury. That's your job.
Yeah, that is literally
What the
your
fuck?
job.
What is you sitting there for? What the
Wow,
fuck you mean when you see some illegalities going on that something just ain't right? That's your job. You the judge.
that's
You're
crazy.
the judge.
Wow.
You
That's
know.
crazy.
we had a I had a predominantly all right jury. Nobody was a jury of my peer. Nobody lived around where I lived. These people was all the way from Pepper Pike, Parma, blah blah blah. These people, the juries consisted of people that lived out where my victim lived at, pretty much.
But that's where they get you when they say it's a jury of your peers. Of whose peers? Because it's not my
Right,
peers.
kids. These people don't live, shop. Their kids don't go to school with my kids. They don't live where I live. How could they be my peers? They were his peers, and they had no sympathy whatsoever for a nigga sitting on that jury stand. No,
No, like you said, all they see is a nigga sitting on that jury stand.
exactly. And for the judge to say that he's seen this going on, the witness being coached during a trial, and you didn't call the case had to be dismissed automatically. But like I say, you're in a conundrum as a black man, as a poor person in that predicament. You don't have a representation. Everything is against you. Everything is against you. It's almost impossible to win in them circumstances. You know,
Yep, yep.
but
So then after once they did that, so as far as trial, you went to trial, of course, and when what did it when did they find you guilty and convict you?
I got convicted in October. I don't remember the exact date. My other two co-defendants went to trial before me, and they got convicted. So I pretty much seen the writing on the wall. I really wasn't paying it because, like I say, I didn't have any representation in the courtroom.
Yeah.
My lawyer was dumbfounded. He was stupid. You know, and so the writing was pretty much on the wall. And when I was sentenced to death, you know. And I'm
That's
sitting there,
crazy.
I'm like, man, y'all finna kill me for something I didn't even do, you know. And I spent 2.5 years on death row, but like at that time they were arguing the death penalty, in Ohio, and so they put a moratorium on executing people, But before that, my execution date came up, 30 days. I was getting ready to get, fried, you know.
Oh my God.
And but they put a moratorium on the death penalty, and eventually they shut it down. And everybody that was on death row back in those days was released into general population with an indefinite life sentence.
Damn.
Which means that you could be in there forever. You can get out tomorrow. But indefinite means that indefinite.
Yeah,
And so
yeah,
subsequently, I spent that major part of my life, my prime years, my teenage years, you know, uh, in general population in one of the most dangerous prisons in Ohio at that time, Lucasville, Southern Ohio Correctional
yeah,
Oh
Facility,
yeah, I
yeah,
know about
know,
Lucasville.
and it was rough. I can't even describe how rough it is, but I made it through, you know. And I was always working on my case. Even when I was on death row, I used to write everybody, man. You know, I just wrote every little money I got in, my state paid, what my family sent me. I would buy envelopes and papers and pens.
yeah,
Know?
yeah,
And I wrote every lawyer, congressman, senator, any people I could think of, and told them about my story, you know.
yeah,
But when you don't have the resources and the backing of prominent people, these people don't ain't no money in it for them. They really don't want to get involved. Man, you're a convicted felon, you know. You're a convicted felon, and once they get that label on you, it's almost a done deal.
yeah. I ain't even trying to do nothing.
Right.
So let me.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, no, no. You good. So when? So how? So did the innocent prom the innocent project? I guess I don't want to mess up the name.
It's project.
Did they reach out to you or you reach out to them?
They wasn't even in existence then, but I was in the Grafton Correctional Facility, which is a minimum security camp, because I had worked my way down to minimum security. And a fellow exoneree, Raymond Taller, um, he was always in the law library working. I'm like, "What you up to, man?" He's like, "Man, this is new project, this new organization just started, and they taking, innocent people's cases, man." And I wrote them, and it took a subsequent 5 years before they even decided to take my case. You
Mm.
know, of constantly writing back and forth. Like I say, once you get that tag on you,
Yes.
no,
It's yeah.
the other side feels no obligation to give up evidence, reports, forensic stuff. They don't feel no obligation to do that. The case been solved as far as they're concerned, you know. But these people have prominent backing, and so it's kind of hard to say no to them, you know. And but in my particular case, all the witnesses were dead except for the one that got us in prison. And if he had died and the course of me still being in prison, I'd still be in prison,
Mm.
But um, he got sick one day and he thought he was dying, and so his he called his pastor and told him that he had something to get off his chest.
Oh, that's crazy.
He told his pastor that he had lied on us back in those days, man. He never saw anything. He never saw us commit this crime, you know. And recantation testimony is the hardest evidence to get back in court, because once you make a statement, it's like it's written in stone, because the other side, the prosecutors and the judges say, well, you could have got to this guy, threatened him, gave him some money to change his story or whatever. But I don't know, the stars were aligned for me at that time. We end up getting an evidentiary hearing. We got back in court. And the same guy that testified against me 39 years ago got on the witness stand and testified for me.
Oh, that's a blessing. That
You
wow.
He told everybody in that courtroom that he had lied and how he had been threatened and how he was treated by the police, and it went over. I mean, it went over big, and they had a recess. Like I say, they had a recess. I guess they thought they saw that how the case was about to turn. And so this was their last ditch effort, to offer me this deal. My lawyer come into the break room and say, Rick, you got 5 minutes to just make a decision. The prosecutor said, if you cop out to this case, they'll give you time served and you can be out of here in 2 hours. You
Oh,
know,
I know you was like, hell no.
I mean, and like,
No.
honestly, I got to admit, after serving 39 years in prison, and I knew for a fact that I didn't want to get back on that bus and go back to prison.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
knew it.
Because you
Whatever
that if that you ain't it's over for you. It's over.
whatever happened had to happen today. But I heard my mother, and I'm a swear, I'm gonna be honest. I thought about it. I just wanted it over. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But my mother would have been so ashamed of me.
Mm.
I'd have took that deal, and I told my lawyers. It seemed like 2 days for me to make that decision, but it was like 2 seconds. I said, like, man, let's roll the dice and see what happened. You know, and
Man. So after they did so once you turned down the offer that they gave you, is that when how long after that is when they was like, "Look, man, we ain't got nothing on them," and they let you go?
after the witness testified, I testified, a couple of other people testified. Um, and it's funny, if I can shoot this little story in right quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
When I first got found guilty, they give you this pre-sentencing PSI, what they call it, determine if you sane enough to be executed, right?
Yeah.
They
I
found that I
know.
was sane enough to be killed. And the guy that did it, the social worker that did the test, I was his first assignment.
Oh,
Fast
wow.
forward 39 years later, he's the chief prosecutor now.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
He's the chief prosecutor. And during the trial, I'm wondering why this weird white haired guy is just staring me down, you know? And come to find out, he's the one that said, like, man, we got the wrong guy, you know?
Mm.
We got the wrong guy. And during the during the pre-sentence investigation, they had you draw these pictures and stuff. And I drew a picture of a house I wanted to live in. And outside of a few details, I drew the same house that I'm living in right now.
Man, and you got a beautiful house, not to mention your chambers were done by Architect Kelly V. Who our motto is, we protect the assets in your ass. So, hey man, so look, check this out, right? And I'm gonna we you gotta do a live with us, right? You gotta do a live with us coming up this week. And it's gonna give people the opportunity to ask questions, talk to you, interact and everything. You good with that?
I love working with y'all, man. Y'all made this very easy. And I did a lot of interviews, but this was by far the most fun one.
Hey, you
You
know what? I didn't even think about that. That is so crazy you mentioned that because and we're gonna keep this in the podcast. No reason to ask this out. Me and Tiffany, we was like, okay, we doing a podcast. It may be different. I forgot you didn't did so many damn interviews and shit. Like, yeah, this was a
Cause
piece of
you
cake
got a
for you.
movie too, don't you? Promote your, don't you got your movie?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
got a movie, man. Promote the movie, baby. Go
Oh
ahead.
yeah. Lovely Jackson is going to be on Netflix in October. We going to France in November. Me and my wife, and it's we scheduled to be out in October. The movie is called Lovely Jackson. Subtitle: If he dies, she can't live. I don't know if you guys have seen the T-shirts, but it's a picture of me sitting in the electric chair with Lovely sitting on my lap. You know, and
No, hey, look, we about to promote all that. So we definitely need the shirt. We need all that information for
Hello,
you.
I did the shirts. My crafting dreams did the shirts.
we did do the shirts. Yeah.
Oh well,
Mhm.
goddamn. I
Yeah.
was. Hey, look, I didn't even think about that. My bad.
Yeah, well,
Yes,
we slated to be out. We got a limited showing engagement on Netflix in October, and so we looking forward to that, man. It's a nice docudrama. When you think about true crime dramas, this is totally different from anything you've ever seen. And I hope you guys enjoy it. It's definitely going to bring you to tears.
hey
Definitely,
man, we definitely looking
definitely going
forward
to bring
to
you
it,
to
man.
tears, man.
We definitely looking forward to it. So look, hey, we gonna have you back on this week, bro. I appreciate you, my
We
boy.
appreciate you. Yes, we
We
appreciate
appreciate
you.
you so much, man, because you gave us so much insight, like things that I didn't even think about the case. You were able just to jump in and just say exactly what it was. And I'm like, I'm thinking I'm pretty good at stuff like that. But no, you actually, that was cold, man. So we definitely appreciate you, man. So look, we going live. We're gonna go live this week coming up, man. So that's gonna be nice. Gonna get the opportunity to talk, to interact with people and whatnot. And then I need you to make sure we get the
You
shirts
guys
to
are
promote.
great interviewers, man. I enjoyed talking with you. I had a lot of fun. You brought me to tears on a couple of questions, but overall, it was a great interview. You guys are great, man.
Man, hey, I appreciate you. So go ahead and walk us out, Mrs. Tiffany Green.
Thank you. I am a
Ah, man,
Miss.
you gotta speak things into existence. All right, damn.
Comfortable in my singleness right now. But anywho, don't forget.
Only single people say that, Rick. Only single people say that.
Yeah, dog. I'm not touching that.
I'm
Don't
sorry.
start with me.
She said
Don't
Okay,
she's
start with
comfortable.
me.
She comfortable.
okay.
I'm good, sir. So
All right, go
anywho,
ahead.
do not forget to share Melanin Mysteries with your friends, your family, your coworkers. We are so excited. Our numbers are going up and we are having so much fun. So remember to follow us on social media. We are on Instagram at Melanin Mysteries Pod, TikTok and Facebook, Melanin Mysteries Podcast. Make sure you tune in. We'll do a live. You want to say Friday? Friday? Sound good? Next Friday?
Hey, what's up, Rick? Friday? That's cool.
I'm here, bro. I'm here for
Okay.
you, man.
All right,
Oh,
good.
we might
Friday
wait.
it
We
is.
might have to adjust that. I might be drunk on the beach. We'll talk about it. I
Mm-mm.
forgot I leave next
What
Friday.
beach? Where you going, girl?
I'll be in Mexico.
Okay,
I'm
we
sorry.
go.
I might
Okay,
be drunk on the beach on
oh no, no,
Friday.
we gonna do the live on Wednesday then.
Okay, cool.
Live will be
Um,
Wednesday. All right.
okay, live Wednesday.
Live Wednesday.
Um, so like I said, make sure you share with your friends, make sure you rate us, make sure you leave a positive rating. And if you have something negative to say, please message us instead of leaving it on our rating.
Man, look, I
Remember,
don't
be
care. Hey, look,
nice.
leave it. You could put in the notes. If you ignorant, I get ignorant back. Go ahead.
We know you get
I don't
ignorant
see
back.
how anybody would have anything negative to say about the good information you guys are putting out there and making people aware of stuff that they don't know about.
Man,
You
you'll be
know, if,
surprised though,
if
man.
you get stupid, you stupid.
Hey, look, I like that snippet. We about to cut that out right
Don't
there.
put that on the people that's doing the show. If you don't know, you don't know. Just say so. Don't be
Yes, I
ignorant. No,
like that.
you
You said
know.
you're stupid. You're stupid. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So always remember that love shouldn't come with a life sentence. So make sure you choose freedom and not felonies.
All right, and that is our time. We appreciate my boy Rick. We will be doing our live on Wednesday, and we are out. Enjoy the rest of y'all day, evening, whenever you decide to listen to us.
Peace. Stay.